We'll do some grand shopping and explorations in the old town. The Grand Bazaar in Istanbul is certainly one of the great features of the city, especially for the tourist. Now let's take a walk inside the market. This giant bazaar in the heart of the old town has 4,000 shops under one roof and a maze of 65 alleys connecting them all into a vast and disorienting conglomeration. Inside the bazaar, it's a little bit more touristic than outside, and it seems like most of the shops are either selling leather or gold jewelry or t-shirts. And you can find a variety of other sorts of clothing, shirts, pants, leather belts, leather bags, and different parts of the bazaar are dedicated to different kinds of goods. It's an amazing labyrinth of alleyways here. There's about 4,000 shops inside the market.
Come with me.
Come with me. Everybody wants you to come with them. Everybody's eager to get you into their store. You can just ignore them or say hello and no thanks. Then we get into a neighborhood of porcelain plates and bowls and dishes. Another one of the traditional items of Turkey. Nearly everything in the market is made in Turkey, but then of course there's a lot of imports from China and Korea. Might look like it's Turkish, but it's actually cheaper for them to import it from China. So you've got to be careful. And there's a lot of carpets here. You might be tempted by the high-quality Turkish carpets. Very nice, very nice. And more ceramic goods of all kinds here. What have you got here?
Ceramic.
Ceramic. Is it all made in Turkey?
Yeah, in Turkey.
Uh-huh. Is it painted by hand?
Yeah.
6,500,000. So that's about $50, maybe $40. 4,500,000. Uh-huh. So we got the price down from 6 million to 4 million with the blink of an eye, and it could go perhaps down to 3 million or 2 million if you kept at it. So you certainly have to do some bargaining when you're here in the Grand Bazaar. It's all part of the fun. If you don't do any bargaining, they're going to take you for a fool, so you've got to get the price down. Bargaining is mandatory here, for no one expects to sell at the price first mentioned. You should try and get them down half price if you can, but if you get a 20% discount, that's okay too. You can even bargain in restaurants, and everywhere money changes hands is up for bargaining. However, before you get your hopes up too much, be advised it has become surprisingly upscale and glitzy with fancy glass windows and too much gold jewelry. On the other hand, half the shops sell nothing but junk you wouldn't care about. The merchants are very friendly because they want your money. These salesmen are eager to catch your attention, so you will hear constant greetings as you walk along. Americans are seen as rich and gullible, unfamiliar with bargaining and true prices, so easy targets to fleece. Don't dress up when you go to the bazaar, because the merchant can determine your annual income with a glance at your clothes and jewelry, and will price his goods accordingly. There's no need to offer directions for walking through the bazaar, as it is a giant puzzle of covered lanes lined with little shops in which you can get delightfully lost. It's a small city unto itself that got started 500 years ago as a smaller market shortly after the conquest of 1453 by Sultan Mehmet II, and kept expanding into the adjacent neighborhoods. More and more streets were covered with roofs to form a single massive building that reached its present size in 1701, more or less. Once you get used to the layout, you realize there is some order to the madness, with the streets forming a grid and with small plazas at main intersections. All manner of copper pots and pans here. You can buy some crystalware along with the porcelain, the ceramics, always the carpets. Carpets. Everybody wants to come in and buy some carpets, buy some jewelry. Nearly 1/3 of all the shops sell carpets, a favorite trophy for the intrepid traveler to bring home. You can't get ripped off too badly if you select a very small rug. There's a few places to eat inside the bazaar as well, or you can just sit down and have a drink. It's all very friendly though. Some of the architecture in here is truly spectacular. This building grew and grew over the years into something like 4,000 stalls, but it took nearly 400 years for it to grow this big. And you can get a feeling of an organic structure here that's just sort of grown up out of the roots of the earth. There's a great domed hall in the center called Old Bedesten, which is part of the original structure and specializes in antiques and expensive jewelry. The bazaar can get very crowded inside, so watch out for pickpockets, just as you have to do in any large city, especially in crowded areas. One advantage of being here first thing in the morning is that you can avoid the big crowds that show up later. The bazaar, or covered market, is a mandatory landmark and fun to see. Then you get to the edge of the bazaar and find yourself back out in the open streets once again. There is about a dozen gates that lead into the bazaar from the surrounding streets. And these streets around it are equally fascinating as the bazaar itself.